Christopher Columbus is an honorable man. I admire him. And people tend to say that, well, the Native Indians were in the West here before Columbus came, therefore how we discovered the West and all that. But it's a routine that we go through over and over and over again. It had to be that Egyptians, and then again you have to look at the type of travel they had. Was it possible that Egypt came through to Mexico and to Latin America and made those pyramids, or it's some devil or god inspired it? It might be that the traveled around. I don't know, some explorers and so forth, and then Babylon came on, and Medo Persia came on, and then all these other places. And so generally, we tend to give Columbus and the British and others, so Walter Raleigh and Long John Jenkins and so on, all these people in history there, we give them credibility over the people who have done things in the past. And of course, today we could boast of our achievements, but we could have never achieved this if we had relied on older things. We build on every civilization, build on the preceding one, takes their intelligence to the next level, because numbers and alphabet and all these things started way back then. Basics that we've sort of manipulated and distorted into new different practices, etc. Although nothing really changed, nothing new under the sun. It's just a very different variation on the same theme. Though there's no way that any other ancient civilization that could have gone to the moon except these current powers, because there wasn't a whole bunch of things that are essential to go into space. And so Columbus, basically a man of faith, seems, because to go on that great ocean and to sail off when people were thinking it was flattening and fall off the other end. And their understanding, if you go east, you come west, and the whole thing, I mean, that was revolutionary. And so I have no problem with saying that Columbus discovered the West here, Caribbean, America, Puerto Rico, whatever. But what was real Columbus is a mission. And could it be that his mission was changed? Because, when you look at scripture in Daniel, there was the image that Nebuchadnezzar saw. He said that there would be a period of iron. Then after that dominant iron period, there would be iron and clay. So that dominant iron is the Roman Empire. And again, you have iron and clay, which means the Roman Empire still exists. We know that Rome, it doesn't exist. We know that the pagan system doesn't exist. What took its place is the papacy and the Pope and all these folks. And we know that Columbus and these other people had serious connection with the Pope, and especially Ferdinand and Isabella. The three ships, the Santa Maria, the Nina, and the Pinta, and so on and so forth. But it looks as if the church had a long-term goal of reconquering the world as the Roman Empire had been. And Britain came, of course, and discovered everybody. I think the British boasted that the sun doesn't go down on the British Empire at all, because in every time zone there was some colony or there's some British possession that truly the sun never set in the British Empire. And also it could mean probably that the British Empire still is active and alive today. Though the nations are independent, they have this Commonwealth relationship, and I'm not sure what independence means and so forth, but Britain still is important. And so it looks as if Spain and Portugal and the dominant Catholic countries that were exploring and sort of discovering colonies gave up, and British just walk away with the whole pride. But they had a different strategy. The Romans, they formed secret societies, and they formed a variety of other things that, in spite of not having control of the whole world, they still have control of the whole world because they were smart enough to have organizations that people want to join. And sometimes these organizations will even help you to become, the big sultan in your country, prime minister and president and general and all that. They can help you with that. And they just need, a little loyalty. Up front, 100 years ago, everybody who belonged to secret societies and government positions weren't necessarily called upon to do nothing because we weren't at the time that it was necessary. In our time, however, it seems as if they're going to make the move and they're going to control the world again, not necessarily behind the scenes, but executively. They're going to be running the world. Now, knowing that, I'm trying to see how it's going to come. I understand the Bush then went down to Iraq there, playing around with Iraq because they had the biggest army of one of the largest armies in the world and it's named Babylon, so they figure like, oh man, they're going to take over the world. But no, it's not. Iraq and so on. Iraq was never in anything serious. I could it be the AntiChrist and them just sell this idea to get folks wasted in the Middle East and destroy the country and the economy and so forth, and then he will creep up. And so, if we could say that Columbus was a part of this conspiracy to take over the world, then that's bad. If he was innocently trying to discover, places and make the world a little more progressive and so forth, then wow, that's good. But even though that they have not necessarily garnered the majority of colonies or territory in the world, they're still doing, okay. And we see the church has a whole bunch of scandals. But, it's just so that governments also have scandals and other churches do have scandals. But their control is coming to come. And maybe one day they're going to pull it over and, the world is going to elect them to run the show because they will some way, somehow convince them that they could do the job. I doubt it because, the church doesn't do well. They have a whole bunch of problems. They don't seem to have no money except they have some in the Vatican down in the basement there that I don't know where to get from and so on. But they're going to do it. And I know that I understand the whole deal with it and I'm not going to be a part of that. So, as the psalmist said, I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than to dwell in the tents of wickedness. And in my time, I've seen opportunities where I could have moved up. In fact, one day I contacted some people and they said, are you new? Do you need funding? Well, I backed away from that because I know that I end up, they can send me over some man or woman who's going to control me and tell me what to do and guide me up to wherever they think they need me and so on. But, many people are joining these organizations not understanding that they're going to have to do a treasonic move. They have to do treason. They have to, sell out the country. So I'm watching this thing developing and, from Columbus to whoever it is, we'll see how it goes. Dr. Williams said from Columbus to Castro. Well, Castro is nothing. So from Columbus, we're looking to see who's going to take over the world and then that chapter is going to be completed.